team news, Frank. Ben Chilwell?
Not fit. No, we're hoping that Chile may be fit, possibly the last game or two of the season, but that's a tight call. It's a similar story with Mason Mount. Maybe a little bit similar with Reece. I feel like Reece might be slightly behind that, so we're obviously chasing it a bit now.
Yeah, another setback there for Ben. It gets frustrating, doesn't it, for him particularly?
Yeah, and I feel for him and all the players that want to play and represent the club, and obviously we miss big players. You know, Reece and Mason and Chile, big England internationals, successful with the club, and I've not really had the benefit of them in this short period. Chile, I suppose, a little bit, but Mason hasn't really contributed at his top level where he's been fully fit. So, but it is what it is.
Wesley, better news? Or?
Yes, Wes has been training this week, so he's good.
Mark Cucurella?
No, won't be fit for this game. Again, probably questionable in line with the others for that final week of the season.
And Koulibaly, finally?
He's trained with us the last couple of days, a little bit managed, not full training. So again, looking at the next week where we have 3 games in 6 days or whatever. So all of those hopefully in a bit of contention, but of course, will they be match fit is the other question.
On N'Golo Kante, he seemed to indicate to Sky Sports News yesterday that he'd be willing and happy to sign a new deal here. Is that your understanding, and how important is he? Okay, he's had injury problems and he's not as young as he was, but he's still a top quality player.
Yeah, I've got no understanding as N'Golo's speaking. I don't know that situation. He's obviously a very, very high level player. I've said that many times.
But working with him again, he's still got lots to offer.
Absolutely. Every game he's played for us in this short period is similar to N'Golo at his level, and he's been a huge asset for the club. We know that.
Training off the back of a win, slightly different feeling. It's always a boost, isn't it?
It's a boost. It's a nice feeling. Players have to strive for that feeling again. That's what builds winning teams. And at the moment, we are obviously in some form of a building process because of the difficulty of the season. So it was a small step forward.
You said before about playing for pride, playing for the badge. Obviously, there isn't really anything in terms of position in the league to play for, but there's integrity, isn't there? The integrity of the league, because you're going to have a big say as a team in all areas of the league. Relegation with Forest, the title with Man City, the Champions League places with Manchester United and Newcastle. Is that something you talk to your players about?
No, not in that context, just that we play for pride in every game. No matter what the consequences for anybody else, it's our consequence that we're concerned about.
Obviously kept Everton up last season. You can contribute to that again by beating Forest, can't you?
Maybe, but Everton's fate is in their own hands at this point, I think, and it's not in my concerns really. I lived that life last year, and I have a lot of connection to the club. In the year that I had there, it was a really enjoyable time for me. But as much as I would support them from afar, it's not in my concern as Chelsea manager. But of course, I hope they get the job done because I know what that feeling is.
Any manager update?
No.
Permanent manager update?
No.
And just finally, Charlie Holland has been a bit of an internet sensation this week. I know because of his age you don't make too much of it. I guess it's not unusual to bring the youngsters in as a bit of a reward and to get experience of the top level.
Yeah, I mean, it was a day where our 21s and 18s had stopped training. They've broken up already. Charlie's the captain of the under-14s, had a very successful season, and he came over and took part in the warm-up and the boxes, and then the internet did the rest and made it more of a story. But it's nice. To have a link to the academy. It's important for young players to have a feeling. If they do well, they can have small inputs. But with Charlie, that was the situation. So, another day, it may be another player that can come in and get that valuable experience in a small way. And we hope that obviously can invigorate the young players, knowing that those things are possible.
Thank you, Jake.
Hi. You said there was a change in the mood this week after the win. Is it as simple as that at this point? Win changes the mood. It's simple as that.
I think in football it can be, but you also can't get carried away over win because it can, as much as sometimes I can look at defeat and see positives, I can look at a win and see a lot of things we need to improve. So it's nice for that general feeling of confidence within the building, but in terms of where we want to be, it's a small step. I said it after the game, so it's just nice and it's something that has to be carried on with, and just by celebrating it all week is not going to be the answer. Another game comes in the Premier League with a team fighting for their Premier League lives, and we have to match that intensity and desire because those are the rules in the Premier League.
Now you've had some time to reflect though on the win. Was there anything that you could pinpoint from the performance that maybe was missing before?
Well, no, I think it's hard to directly compare performances. I think a simple form of football is that when you take chances, you can win games, and then a lot of other stuff can be glossed over for good or for bad. So in this game, we score from a set piece, which is something we haven't been doing enough this season. We also are clinical in the third goal, which kills off the game. And if you look at certain games we've played in my time, and I won't speak for before too much, but we have opportunities to be clinical at that end of the pitch. And if you can't do that, then it's very hard to get into the top half, top 8, top 6, top 4 if you don't have a real clinical edge at the top end of the pitch. And you can't conjure that up in a short period. It has to be developed, worked on, recruited, all those things. But we were more clinical. I thought the performance was good, but it's not exactly where we want to be. In this period, for me, it won't be a question of trying to take us to exactly where I want to be because the time isn't there. But it was a nice step.
Obviously, Forest won the other day, but they're still very much in the relegation battle. What kind of test then do you think it is to play against a team that's fighting for their lives? What do you expect?
A really big one, like they've given big teams recently in Liverpool's and Manchester United's, and winning against Southampton and beating the team at the level of Brighton. They have to give them complete respect in a strong squad, strong coach, effective way of playing. I think they've kind of not changed, but they've evolved through the season in terms of their style, which is very effective. A lot of speed on the counter attack, very threatening in terms of set pieces and some of the more direct stuff, which is fair play because they're fighting for everything.
And just lastly, home form hasn't really been as good as I'm sure you'd have wanted to be in the last few matches. Do you think, obviously the game is at home tomorrow, do you think that's starting to maybe weigh a little heavy around the players' necks playing at home?
I think if form's not been great, and it's probably since I've been here and preceding that's very normal and human. That can build up some nervousness amongst players and fans. The only way through that is to dig in and try and do the right things. I've been there as a player many a time, and that's what the players have to do, as simple as that, and then the crowd will go with them, and then with that you can become a bit of a force, but we're obviously striving for that.
Best of luck, thanks.
Last one in the broadcast section, Simon.
Hey Frank, can you talk about Lewis Hall? Has he got a chance of starting given the injury issues?
Yeah, Lewis has a chance. Tempted to put him on last week is the word I'll say, but I think with the nature of the game, I felt the sort of experience of Aspie in the game was more suitable at that point. I'll view this game on its merits as well, but I think in terms of Lewis, I've been really impressed with his training. He's a very good player, really talented player, and I think if anything, there's one thing he needs to come out of himself that bit more, because he should really trust how good he is and feel at home with the group. I think he does feel that. And games I've watched from afar. I didn't get to work with Lewis before I was a bit younger, so I've been watching him from afar. I've been really impressed, and he hasn't dampened that at all. The opposite. So he's in the running for the last 4 games to be involved.
Right. Can you just clarify? Because there's talk that he was called up for the England Under-20 World Cup squad, and it was Chelsea's decision, his decision, how that sort of played.
Yeah, it's my decision that he needs to stay with us for the 4 games. We've obviously got injuries at both our left backs who have been playing regularly this season, and that leaves us in a position where we want and need Lewis.
And have you got anything that the time of this tournament? Because Chelsea aren't the only ones that have made this kind of decision.
Yeah,
Is
I
it
mean,
a bit of a mystery.
Yeah, it feels a mystery to me. I'll be careful with it because I didn't really think about the tournament too much a month or so ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's probably because I've come here and then all of a sudden the question is there of young players leaving at the most crucial part of the season, and there you can see with what it means for us with Lewis and Carney, and there'll be other clubs in the league that players that are playing regularly that it's just it doesn't make sense in terms of clashing with the end of our season. But that's all I know about it. But from our point of view, having the power of being able to keep our player is an important thing, and maybe that probably then jeopardises the World Cup itself, and that's maybe why they should look at it, because they will want the best players there, and from our point of view we need our best players in this moment.
Sure. And just final, how did Lewis take it? Like, was he sort of obviously quite happy because
He takes most things the same, you know, quite straight face. So I think he would have wanted to play for his country and I'd be honoured to represent. So obviously that's a good thing. Maybe normal, but that's a good thing. But also he's come through this academy and will be desperate for opportunity, and I think that's what I sense from him. So I think he did it right on both sides. He would have been happy to go, but now he's happy to hopefully get some opportunity in these last games.